Hello friends, you found the video directions for module number 11, the first of Unit 2, where we will begin our work on Microsoft Excel. Today, we'll be building a chart and eventually, building a spreadsheet and eventually a chart on the U.S. Electoral College results for the presidential elections between 1900 and 2024. To access Excel, there's a pretty solid chance that you will need to fire up the Finder window, head to Applications, and then select Microsoft Excel. From here, we will fire up a blank workbook and click Create. With the workbook open, we have some setup to do. You will see spreadsheet here. I just want to cover some basics with you. Every column has a letter. Every row has a number. We combine the columns at the top with the numbers on the side, or the rows on the side, to pick out specific cells. So this first one here in column A, row 1, is cell A1. Second column, row 1, B1. Second column, row 2, B2, and so on and so forth. So if you hear me say a number and a letter, we are not playing bingo. I am calling out the coordinates that you need to click on in the spreadsheet to do this correctly. So we will skip cell A1 and go to cell B2, and we will type in the Republican Party. All right, now obviously Republican Party doesn't fit in here, but we're going to be okay for right now. Once we've got Republican Party typed in B2, then we're going to go to C2 and we're going to type in the Democratic Party. And once that's done, then we're going to click on cell D1 and we're going to type in Other. Now, the greatest thing about spreadsheet is that it is probably one of the most user-friendly softwares. There's literally nothing this software can't do. Once we've got our political parties typed in row 1, we're going to take our cursor, go up to the top. We're going to click letter B, so the entire column highlights. And then we're going to click letter B again, and we're going to drag over so we can highlight columns C and D. Now, because things don't fit here, what we're going to do once we have them highlighted is take our cursor back over to the line between letter D and E, and you see the cursor has changed. We will click, and we're going to drag over to about where it says 20.83. Wonderful. Now everything fits. We will adjust the alignment to center, so we've got center top to bottom, and then we're going to have center left to right. Glorious. We will highlight cell B1, C1, and D1, highlight these three cells, and we will adjust that to 16. Perfect. Then we will click cell B1, and we will set the color fill to red. We'll click cell C1, set the color fill to blue. Then we'll click cell D1 and set the color fill to gray. Nice. Now we need to start typing in the years of the election. So we've got 1900, 1904, 1908. Now, again, to show you just how absolutely wonderful spreadsheet is, if I wasn't as nice of a guy as I am, I would just tell you to type every election going back the last 124 years, but we're not going to do that. Once we've got these 3 election years put in, we're going to click 1900 and drag down to 1908. So you should see these 3 cells with a green line all around them, and you're going to see this little square in the lower right-hand corner. If I hover my cursor over the top of it, you're going to see I go from a big cross to a little cross hair. And we can click and start dragging down, and spreadsheet is so fantastically awesome that you can see the projected numbers popping up: 1980, 1984, 88, 92, 96, 2000, 2004, 2008, 2012, 16, 20, and 24. The elections that we are going to track. And just like that, with a simple click and drag of the mouse, it has filled in every 4 years the elections for us. Fantastico. Now, to get the information for these elections, we need to use this website here, 270 to win. So you can click that link and pop up the maps, and we can start backfilling things. We're going back to 1900. So we'll click on 1900. And again, per the directions, we are recording the Electoral College vote. So the Electoral College vote. In 1900, William McKinley received 292 votes, 292. Then you can hit the tab button. William Jennings Bryan, 155 electoral votes. He lost. There is no third party in that year. Enter a 0. Then you've got these little buttons here that allows you to go to the next elections. Fantastic. 1904. Our good friend Teddy, 336 electoral votes. Alton B. Parker, never heard of him, 140 electoral votes. Eugene Debs, socialist, he lost, 0 votes. We go to 1912. William Taft, big guy, 321. William Jennings Bryan, 162. No third party, 0. We go to the next row. 1912. The Republican was Taft. He received 8 electoral votes. Woodrow Wilson, the Democrat, received 435 electoral votes. And then we've got a couple of third parties. Eugene Debs just can't take the hint. He got 0 votes. And Teddy Roosevelt, who ran as a progressive, got 88 votes. We only have one column for another party, so we're going to add these two together. 0 and 88 is 88 electoral votes. We go on to 1916. Charles E. Hughes, 254 electoral votes. Close, but no cigar, as Woodrow Wilson, Woody, as he was called by his friends, received 277 electoral votes. Allen Benson, socialist, got 0. You're going to fill in the electoral votes for the Republicans and Democrats and third parties, so your chart looks like this. Once you have your entire chart filled in, we have one more step to take. We are going to click cell D33 and drag all the way up to A1, and we are going to set the border to all borders. Makes it look very nice. We do have a couple of elections to point out. I want to make sure I remind you of that. We're going to go to the let's go back here. We're going to go to the 1948 election. We had some realigning elections in the United States in our past. Democrat, Republican, and then again, you've got third parties down here. States' Rights Democrat, they wanted to run on segregation. And Henry Wallace was a progressive. You're going to add these two together. 52, we had 2 parties. I think 1960, we had a little bit of a situation. That's correct. JFK, he was a Democrat, 303. Richard Milhouse Nixon, 219. Harry F. Ford was a Democrat out of West Virginia, if I'm not mistaken. He's listed as a Democrat, but again, we're running on segregation. So you're going to chalk that bad boy up to a third party or the other candidate. I think those are the 2 elections where we had some trickery here. Once we've got our chart complete, we need to check that. Once we've got our spreadsheet complete, we need to set up our chart. We're going to go up to cell A1, click and drag down to cell D33. We're going to head up to Insert, and we are going to look for the icon that says Recommended Charts, and we're going to click that drop-down arrow. And then we're going to scroll on down to where it says Clustered Column Chart. And then, bam, it's generated for us. We're going to click the upper left-hand corner where that box is and drag it all the way up to cell F1. And then we're going to click in the lower right-hand corner and drag that fella all the way out to cell W50. So here, and come on, fella. Too much. Got to put the toothpaste back in the tube. W50, glorious. And we can slide this baby back. That's nice. That's wonderful. I'm going to zoom out here so you can see it a little bit better. Now we've got some formatting to do with our chart. To do this, we click anywhere in the chart, and then up at the top, you're going to see a tab that populates for chart design. You're going to go ahead and click that fella. And then we're going to go over to where it says Add Chart Element. And then from there, we're going to select Chart Title. And we're going to say Above. With that illuminated, we're going to double click this box and we're going to type in U.S. Electoral College Results 1900 to 2024 BN. And from there, still clicked inside of the chart, we're going to click on Element, and we're going to go down to Data Labels, and we're going to select Outside End. This will put the electoral votes for each election, for each party, up at the top of the bar. So then we don't have to estimate what the number is based on the axis that's labeled on the left. This will give you an exact number. Additionally, we're going to scroll on down to the legend, and we're going to put it at the top, if I'm not mistaken. There it is. Wonderful. We're also going to add a table down at the bottom. So chart element, data table. We are going to say with legend keys. Wonderful. Now we will see what each party has for each election year. And then we're going to adjust our bar graph to make sure the colors match up. We'll start with the Republicans. They're listed as blue. We don't want that. So we're going to double click it. The formatting data series windows pops up. We're going to click on the paint can and we're going to go down to fill. And then we're going to see color right here. And we're going to set that to red. Now all of the Republican columns have switched to red. We're going to do the same thing for the Democrats. We're going to double click the orange. We're going to set that fella to blue. I believe that was the correct blue. That is correct. And then we'll do the same thing for the other. You got to find a gray column somewhere, and we're just going to make sure that we got that fella set to gray. Wonderful. And there you go. Lo and behold, you have a spreadsheet that tabulates the three political parties in the Electoral College presidential elections from 1900 to 2024. These numbers match up with these bad boys. Make sure you go ahead and click Save. Make sure you had the title of the document. Let's see here. This would be Module 11, Microsoft Excel, U.S. Electoral College Results, Electoral College Results 1900 to 2024. And save. Go ahead and email that to me. Make sure you send your emails correctly. If you guys have questions while you're working on this, feel free to ask. But until then, go Spartans.